Hi, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and today I'm going to be talking about Sardar Udham. Directed by Shoojit Sircar, it is a beautifully shot Indian historical drama that was released on October 16th, 2021. The story follows the historical life of Udham Singh during the earlier 1900s and his assassination of the prior Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, India, Michael O'Dwyer. Now, before I hop into my review, if you want to support the channel, please take a second to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It is super duper appreciated. Thank you. As a warning, this review will contain some heavy spoilers, so continue at your own risk. Also, this review was requested by Deogiri Yadav, so thank you for the suggestion. I really appreciate it. For all of you, if you ever want something reviewed, don't forget to let me know by leaving a comment and I will get to it very slowly but surely. Thank you. I'm hopping in 3, 2, 1. Since this movie is based on true events, it behooves me to give you a general idea of what these events are. So, welcome to your history class. Back in 1919, the British Empire was nearly at its peak, ruling and oppressing many countries, including India. As you can imagine, things were not well for the Indian people. There were many protests against their racist, cruel, and harsh rulers. On April 13th, British General Dyer was ordered by Lieutenant Governor O'Dwyer to open fire on a crowd of 20,000 peaceful protesters gathered at Jallianwala Bagh. Over the course of 10 minutes, over 1,650 rounds were fired and over 1,000 women, children, and men were massacred. Over 1,000 more Indian people were injured, with many of them dying over the next days due to martial law and a shoot-on-sight curfew. Post-massacre, General Dyer and Lieutenant Governor O'Dwyer refused to take any accountability for their casual brutality. This barbaric and unapologetic attitude fueled dissent amongst India and led to the formation of rebel groups, ultimately culminating in the assassination of O'Dwyer by Udham Singh. So, those are the events that inspired this movie. Very deep, heartfelt, tragic, and inspiring. These themes can be felt throughout the movie, and I greatly appreciate that this movie did not hold back. It's a movie that's very real and certainly stirred some emotion in me, particularly during the massacre. It was shocking, to say the least. There aren't very many movies that are willing to portray such a brutal massacre of women and children, but this one was. As a viewer, as shocked as I was, this was the most important scene in the movie. It is the scene that leaves a lasting impact and helps us understand the main character, Udham. Udham Singh was portrayed by Vicky Kaushal, and he did a wonderful job. This movie was non-linear in its storytelling, and it jumped back and forth between many different years. We see the life of Udham as a young adult, a revolutionary, an assassin, and a martyr. Vicky is a wonderful actor, and I believe he brought the necessary levels of emotion and depth to Udham. Outside of his great casting, the rest of the cast were also phenomenal. Sean Scott and Andrew Havel were detestable as Michael O'Dwyer and Reginald Dyer. Stephen Hogan and Sam Redford were tough as nails and determined to fulfill their duty to King and Country as Detective Inspector Swain and Detective Dayton. Bonita Sandhu, Kirsty Averton, and Amol Parashar did a wonderful job grounding and inspiring Udham as his closest friends Reshma, Eileen Palmer, and Bhagat Singh. Other supporting cast members also did a wonderful job. Seeing everyone in their attire, they fit the production perfectly. This movie certainly felt like it took place in the 1930s. The architecture, vehicles, attire, weapons, and even the color grading made this film feel authentic to me. Which, speaking of the color grading, the cinematography was beautiful. There were many beautiful shots of London, Russia, and India. The rainy days were vividly moody, and the sunny flashbacks were touchingly warm. This movie made great use of drone shots, ending the film with a haunting reminder of the massacre. That shot took my breath away. Adding to the authentic feel of this movie, I really appreciated the small details that director Sircar included. General Dyer not giving the people in the Bagh a warning to disperse before open firing was horrific. The hundreds of shell rounds that Udham stepped on were haunting. Dyer's unapologetic attitude was brutish. His quote during his trial about wishing he could have used machine guns broke my heart. I was impressed that Sircar also included a scene showing how Udham smuggled a gun into Caxton Hall by carving the shape of a revolver into a book. The little details in this movie helped bring it together. Now, going back to the time jumps, this is one aspect of the movie that I wasn't too fond of. The time jumps felt excessive and disruptive to the pace of the film, with over 15 of them occurring throughout the movie. The assassination of Michael O'Dwyer happened early in the film and helped hook me into the movie, but the time jumps between Udham's interrogation and his past made it harder for me to stay engaged with the emotions the assassination invoked. I didn't feel fully invested or reinvested invested in this movie until the climax. The massacre occurs about 2/3 of the way into the movie, and the rest of the film is the aftermath of the brutality. In a way, it almost felt like I was watching two movies. The first 2/3 were set up, and the last third was the emotional payoff, which really paid off. Running for 2 hours and 42 minutes, the movie felt a little long, but again, that could be because of the time jumps. With pacing being my only complaint about this movie, I'd like to compliment the soundtrack. Here are some notes that I jotted down as I watched the movie. Beautiful and somber music, pairs well with character close-ups. Hauntingly solemn piano and violin make Udham's execution emotional. The music feels dreamy, like the lighting. To summarize my thoughts, I really enjoyed Sardar Udham. Following the life of Udham Singh during the 1930s and the consequences he faced after assassinating the prior Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, India, was insightful to say the least. The Amritsar massacre and the thousands of murdered Indian women, children, and men by the British Empire were shocking and emotional. I completely understand why Udham took the actions he did. Vicky Kaushal and the supporting cast were wonderful in portraying their characters emotionally and passionately. Combined with the production design everyone felt in place for the time period, the 1930s. Enhancing the authentic vibe, the cinematography and soundtrack were stellar and magnified the emotions this historical story conveyed. The only complaint that I had about this movie were the constant time jumps because I felt like they were disruptive to the pace of the movie. Other than that, I highly recommend this beautifully shot Indian movie, and I gave it a 9 out of 10. For some, this movie might be a little bit too long, but I promise the emotional payoff during the last third is well worth the wait. I'm certainly glad I stayed invested. Thank you for listening to my review of Sardar Udham. Deogiri Yadav, thank you for your recommendation. I really enjoyed this movie. For all of you watching, if you enjoyed the content and want to support the channel, please take a second to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. If you did not enjoy the content, thank you for sticking around. You are a trooper. As always, I would love to read what you have to say, so leave a comment down below and let me know what you're thinking. Also, if you want to see something reviewed, don't forget to let me know and I will get to it slowly but surely. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast, Good Friends. Again, thank you for watching. My name is Diego and I will see you next time.